All right, good afternoon. Welcome to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. All right, got rid of the feedback there. All right, let's go make some changes here. And first change I'm going to make is with Starbucks. We're going to cash out of Starbucks here at 370. All right, we'll have about a $600, almost a $600 gain here at Starbucks. So we're going to cash out of these Starbucks November 77 and a half. And that order was filled at 370. Okay, so we sold Starbucks at 370. Okay, we sold Starbucks at 370. We are going to make a trade entry. Okay. What you'll also notice is now with our new system, once we make a trade as well, we'll put it in the chat, but we'll also it'll also show up in the message center down below. Okay, so we sold Starbucks at 370 here. Let me show you why. Okay, let me show you why. Starbucks here is it pushed into a trend rider mode, right? Pushed into a trend rider bull mode. It still has the chance of going up. It's still in a vibe bull mode. You know, there's still some very bullish overtones. The selling today isn't on big volume, so some still very bullish overtones. But it's not going to be closing in that upper Bollinger Band, and that just adds some tremendous amount of risk on here. We want to pull the profit, take our profit and run, and live to fight another day, especially with it potentially not holding on to 80 here into the close. Starbucks does have earnings next week. We expect some analysts to come out and start talking about Starbucks. We're also seeing a lot of the high flyers in the market get a little bit of a haircut, and will that bleed into Starbucks? Maybe. This is also something that we've seen from Starbucks before. Here in June, Starbucks goes sets a new high, gets this little inside day, has a little bit of a pullback. We just don't want to suffer through the pullback. Still very bullish on Starbucks. We wouldn't short it, but we're pulling off, taking our profit there on Starbucks. All right, let's go take a look at our other positions. Let's take a look here at TLT. Okay, no change coming on here. Yeah, it's about 30 cents off of its high, but this is TLT. It's not going to close at its highs. It's not going to close at lows. The candles aren't really important. It's broken. As far as it's broken its downward trend, it's pushing higher, and we will we'll continue to ride here with the TLT. It could pull back another 75, 80 cents, but we'll continue to push higher, looking for that 110 mark on it. AUY is an interesting one. And AUY, with gold down today, was actually trading positive at one point. And then it went on a 2-hour run where it fell about 3% in 2 hours. Okay, if you've never traded the gold miners, a 3% drop or rally in a matter of an hour is no big deal. Okay, yes, price wise it affects things, but it's not a big deal in terms of they do it a lot. The gold miners can move. They can absolutely move. Overall, with AUY, we talked about it this morning. The potential of coming down into this 990, 980 area. I mentioned this morning, I was surprised it was up at 10 and not down around 980, given what happened to gold and given the overall higher low, higher high trend that's kind of coming in here. So with AUY holding on here, we have yesterday's gap, this 980 level that we can use as a stopping point and say, what, we break below 980, enough's enough. We'll pull it out. But overall, we still have very bullish prospects here. Gold is not pulling back very much here today on a relative basis, and we're still looking for that upper Bollinger Band. We just got a little bit of a rest day, which is common. I mean, take a look at AUY here in August. after its gap up and bullish Harami, we get or bullish Marubozu, we get a little Harami action come in. It's not uncommon. Okay, so we're going to keep AUY, we're going to keep TLT, and we are not going to add any positions for the Vibe or Trend Rider. Carl and I have gone through the triggers for the Vibe and Trend Rider today. There are some that are tempting. But this market looks like it wants to sell just a little bit. And most of the Vibe Trend Rider triggers are bullish here. And we're going to kind of, we'll let tomorrow come. And if they hold in there, we'll go ahead and go after them. But as far as getting into another call play, we're not going to do that. So for the Vibe and Trend Rider, we'll sit flat till tomorrow. We'll look at something in the morning. For the Candlestick Challenge, okay, I've made no secret about XLE, about the energy sector, and about it being my absolute favorite group to go after short. My question here with the XLE, could we get it cheaper tomorrow morning? Okay, almost like when we got into the TLT, I wasn't quite sure if we were getting the best price for the next day, but overall we were getting into a good trade. Overall, we have a strong bearish island reversal candle. We have the negative divergences with oil. And as far as what stocks to go after, as I've looked at all the different energy stocks, looked at the various option pricing, XLE sets up the best here. So I'm going to go and do some XLE puts. Okay, let's go after some XLE puts, and I'm going after the November. Okay, the November 87s. Okay, the November 87s, and I'm looking to do 5 contracts. Okay, looking to do 5 contracts here. Okay. And let's see if we can fill at 202. Should be about $1,000 worth there. I'm just going to fill at 303 to get the alert sent out here. All right, so we are filled at 203. Filled at 203. When I originally priced it out, I priced it out at 202. So, we're a penny. Not a big deal there. Let's there we go. So the alert should be going out to you. Yeah, good question. What's the difference between XLE and USO? USO is trading the actual price of oil. XLE is the energy stock ETF. Okay, is the energy stock ETF. Okay, Aaron, you're not on. We sold Starbucks and we just bought XLE puts. And we did 5 of the November 87 for 203. Okay, as far as the risk reward here on XLE, okay, we're going to use the 8650 mark as our stopping point. Okay, and why that? It may seem a little arbitrary. When we're dealing with island reversals, generally the stopping point would be on the opening price of the reversal candle. So this morning's opening price, 86.31. Having traded these before, sometimes there's a little buffer around there. So we're going to use a stop around 83.50 or 86.50. Okay. And what we're looking for is we are looking for a pullback back into the 83 area, potentially breaking 83 and into 82, depending on what goes on in the market, but most likely back into 83, about a 62% retracement of this most recent run. Granted, these island reversals can be major tops, and if that turns out to be the case, we'll give it a ride and go after it there. So we bought some XLE puts for the Candlestick Challenge. So this puts us into 2 trades for the Candlestick Challenge. Okay, we can't get into another trade on it until we cash one of those out. All right, so we closed Starbucks. We took our profit on Starbucks. I believe something like a 35% profit, somewhere in there, 35%, something like that. And we bought XLE puts for the Candlestick Challenge. We're holding the TLT and we're holding the AUY as far as for trades. Okay. Yeah, PBR pulling back pretty strong here today. Okay, pulling back pretty strong, not holding the 16. Tells me that that uptick that we had 2 days ago, a little splash in the pan. Okay, a little splash in the pan. As far as a trade on here, look for, if we start to see the lows from Monday break, okay, we can expect to play PBR down to the 13 area. Okay. Yeah, JC, just cashing in. Just cashing in. Yeah, it still looks good. I mean, Starbucks is not bearish in any way. Okay. But it was a vibe that turned into a trend rider. And so we wanted to ride it with the upper band. It's closing below that band. It is low volume. Okay, it is low volume, but breaking a little below 80. This is what we don't want. Just from, you guys have seen we've had a little up and down with some of the trades. We want to build some gains in here with the vibe and the trend rider, and we don't want to let Starbucks even get to the possibility of going negative after being up very nicely for us. And with this type of candle here today, the possibility of a gap down like here in June is just much more elevated. Okay, much more elevated, and we just don't want to take that risk. That's all. Okay? A good close about Starbucks. You can use the $80 level. The $80 level is a little bit arbitrary, right? I mean, Starbucks has only traded around 80 now for 2 days in its history, so it's a little bit arbitrary, but where it is right now, as long as it doesn't break and fill the gap from yesterday. Yesterday's gap is the important part, and probably the best support level for Starbucks is down here around 79.20. Okay, so as we looked at this, sitting at about 80.10, we're like, hey, we might get down to 79.20. Do we want to ride that? And our answer was no. We don't want to ride that potential. Yeah, Jay, you got 2 texts for each trade, and that's a good thing. That means you went into the new system, you put in your text. We are sending them out on the new system and on the old system for a couple days, just so that we have the redundancy and nobody gets missed there. Okay. Let's go back to XLE. As far as XLE, okay, one of the things that it's done here is from an hourly perspective. We watched it break down this morning, and we said, you know what, let's just kind of give it a chance, let it rest, and it's consolidated all day, right back to the 7-hour moving average. These are some of my favorite spots to pick things up as they've kind of consolidated back. And they tend to show weakness at this point heading into the next day. But as far as, is this going to go up 40 to 50 cents before going down? Yeah, it very well could. It very well could, given the market situation. So, did we get in at the best price? We may not have. Kind of in that same realm of TLT, but overall, we're in a pretty good price. And we have the odds in our favor, and we're going after it. Kodiak Oil and Gas. This is another one in that XLE. Bearish candlestick pattern overall. I know it's come off of its highs, but off of its lows. But a lot of times, when something's going to sell off, you'll actually see these wicks on the candles actually get filled. Okay, Walmart was one of the last ones we had looked at back here in September, where it broke down below the 7, had this long wick on it, rallied back, and then a few days later that wick filled, and Walmart went to a lower price. Okay, that would be the common action for some of the wicks that we're seeing within the XLE, within that within that group. Okay. So for a stop here on XLE, as far as the stopping point, 86.50. Okay, we're not setting a program, we're not setting a hard stop, but we start to see it trade up there around 86.50. We'll look to pull it off there and live to fight another day. Gives us about 30% risk. We have some pretty good reward potential. The XLE, we're dealing with about an 85 delta. It goes down a dollar. Our delta will rise to about 95. So, we're pretty close to 1. We get about a 250 drop in the XLE. We'll be doubling our money, and then anything beyond there, gravy. Okay. Gravy. And the bottom line is, we may be at a long-term top here on the XLE. If you look at the way the patterns and the waves have gone, you could make that argument. The candles make that argument, but obviously we'll kind of see. We'll let it play out as is. Okay. Yeah, Carl talked about Joy today, and I couldn't argue somebody wanting to get in Joy here. Especially with its reaction to the upside after Caterpillar's earnings. I can't get Caterpillar's earnings out of my head as far as how really ugly they were. We've seen this type of action on Joy before. It is happening from a little bit of a short-term overbought, but if you're buying into Joy, I would just use about 53.80 as a stopping point. 53.80. KRE also has some buying potential here with our basically our 4 white candles side by side. Okay, this tends to have a bullish resolution. It's pulled right back to the 7. You're looking to play the KRE to the upside, and this is the one we almost did for the vibe here as it pulled back to the 7 today. If you're looking to play this to the upside, about 37.10 becomes your tight stop there. About 37.10. I couldn't argue anybody playing KRE to the upside. Again, this is one we almost did for the vibe, and for the bullish vibe here. But we decided we'll give it till tomorrow, and let overnight play out a little bit. When we're dealing with earnings season, you'll notice here recently we've done a few more ETFs. The TLT, we've messed with the AUY, which isn't an ETF, but it's something where earnings don't matter. We just got into the XLE. Why deal with an ETF? Well, because if you're dealing with an ETF, you don't have to worry about earnings. You don't have to worry about upgrades, downgrades, analysts marking the earnings down or up, or some fluke type of news there. You're playing the broader sector, and with all the bearish candle signals that we got in the energy sector here today, the last thing I want is to get into Halliburton puts, have some analysts come out and upgrade the earnings, and Halliburton go up and the rest go down. So I kind of take some of that individual stock risk out of play there. Jill, fantastic question. Falling interest rates don't seem to affect KRE this time. Thoughts as to why? Carl and I talked about that, and my reaction was, correlations in this market, we don't see them last for more than 2 to 3 weeks. You would think, falling interest rates would damper KRE, but they just haven't. And one of the things, with the earnings out of Zions yesterday, Monday, they weren't real strong. That's not really affecting the KRE. As far as why, some of this has to do with, if the bank earnings overall have been good, the regional banks aren't being threatened with legislation like Bank of America and Goldman and all these other banks, and so money kind of pushing into the regional banks, as they don't necessarily have all the legislative or judicial risk out there from the government. Hey, thanks, Jay. Let me know if that's any better there. they're going to make me give up my headset that I have. They have a new system coming in for Carl and I that will microphone system that will get rid of any of the crackling or any of that comes through. Yeah, AK, Hal is a strong name to short. Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned I went through those Halliburton earnings. They were strong. They were really strong. But again, they're based on $100 oil. Oil goes to 90. Oil goes to 85. Oil goes to 82. Halliburton isn't nearly as strong. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So for those of you just hopping on, we are looking here at, or excuse me, we bought some XLE puts. Okay, we bought some XLE puts, the November strike, and we sold our Starbucks calls. We took profit on our Starbucks calls. Did we take profit for any major reason? No. Okay, no. There's still bullishness here in Starbucks. And, if there were any upside trades that I'd really want to be in here, Starbucks is one of them. Okay, but earnings are coming up soon. Here with Starbucks, we had the nice day yesterday. A little bit more aggressive pullback today than what we expected to see. Coming down, dancing around 80. With some of the bearish Harami action here today, we just don't want to take the risk of a $1.50 gap down, wiping our trade out, and basically putting us at zero here for the vibe. As unlike with the challenge, we're trying to build a little momentum there on the vibe, and so far, with our recent Halliburton trade and Starbucks, we're getting that a little bit here. Got a couple J's there, huh? All right, good deal. All right. As far as broader market, all right, let's go take a look here. Broader market. Today was a sell-off, right? But look at it from a perspective here. We're not talking about a deep sell-off. We did have a lot of stocks in the S&P 500, about 10% of them break below their 7-day moving averages today, which is a high number. But the market in general didn't. The overall S&P 500 still trading above its 7. Okay, so still not in a place where we can say, hey, let's aggressively short this thing. It's still trading above the 7 there. Small caps here today continue to outperform. You could argue that you have a bearish breakaway pattern setting up here, but we need to close below about 109.50 on the IWM to confirm that. Okay, the Dow here kind of inline performance today. You had Caterpillar down big, Boeing up big. They kind of counteracted each other. St. Jude, some very bullish price action here today. The one thing, though, with St. Jude, Aaron, that just, man, there's just no volume. And I know there doesn't have to be volume today. We've had the bullish volume come in already for the triggers. But St. Jude is one of those that we looked at. We said, you know what, if there's a little bit of strength in the morning, we can go after. I don't have to take the overnight. We don't have to hold that overnight here. As far as economic data is concerned here, we do have some economic data coming, but this is about the least important thing in the market right now. We have some trade data tomorrow, which will affect currencies a little bit. Jobless claims, PMI flash, natural gas report. We have durables on Friday, consumer sentiment, but essentially the market is not concerned here with what the economic data is. The market has basically priced in that the data is going to be lukewarm. The Fed Beige book that we got last week basically said data is weakening overall. we're not. This isn't a data-driven rally. This isn't a rally that's driven because the economics are improving. This is a rally that is happening as easy money continues to flow into the system, and as it becomes more and more evident that you know anybody and everybody who has any effect on the market is trying to push it up, and it's bulls gone wild right here, and dangerous place to be long, but dangerous place to be short, and makes the triggers that much more important. Yeah, AK LVS wants to know if you can short it here. AK, I wanted to pull the trigger on Vegas Sands short yesterday. I've priced the options about 4 times here today, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Why? Does it have something to do with the way that it ran up? Maybe, maybe, but I just haven't. I mean, even Wynn's setting up for a 3 Black Crows candle pattern. It's just setting up for another drop, another $3 drop tomorrow. There with Wynn. Here's Caesar. Their earnings missed. And you see they kind of had a bullish reaction after the earnings miss, but have since fallen. You're probably looking at Caesar coming back into the $14, $15 area as well. We looked at Visa yesterday. The gravestone candle yesterday pulled back a little bit here today. Visa's a difficult one to be short overall. But, we start to see Visa break below 197 and, push below 197 to see some some action there. Could be. PW, nice to get out of a trade before it goes red. Happy with Starbucks. Yeah, I mean, with the vibe of the trend rider, we're much less apt to push them. Look, if Starbucks were a 100K challenge trade, I would not be out right now. I absolutely would not be out. But, being in the vibe and the trend rider and essentially not closing in the upper band like we want to see for the trend rider, we're pulling it off. All right, we continue to hold the TLT here, okay? And it's about 30 cents off of its highs, but, we've seen the TLT go up when the market's gone up and the TLT go up when the market's gone down, and that's great to see here. AUY here just holding right around this 990 area. Nothing abnormal here for AUY, and we'll continue to look for that to trade into the upper Bollinger Band. And then we have our new trade here on the XLE, which we discussed here with energy. And so this isn't playing the price of oil like USO would be. This is basically playing the Chevrons, Exxons, Conocos, Halliburtons, EOG's range, all these various energy components all in one. And we're just playing the highly bearish candlestick action that we see. All right, well, we appreciate you hopping on. I'm going to give you 2 reminders before I hop off here. Let me go to the Trader Minute website. If you'll bear with me 1 second. Okay, 2 reminders. Number 1 is to come up top here where it says welcome. In this case, welcome Jeff, but if it says welcome AK or whoever, come in here and go to your account. All right, go to your account. And come in and under Edit Account and Profile, okay, Edit Account and Profile, click on that, and please put in SMS text alerts, put in the phone number that you would like to receive your text alerts to. Right now, we are running on the old system and the new system, so some of you are getting double text. That'll happen for another couple days here. Then we'll turn off the old system, and we'll have the new system in here. If you are in the U.S. or Canada, you simply have to put in your area code and then your phone number. Okay, area code and phone number, just like I did. I'll put my number in there. Okay. If you're like Posty, you're down in Australia, or those of you who are, joining us from other parts of the world, just simply come into what's your country's area code, find that, put the area code for your country in there, then your phone number, and you are good to go. Okay? PW, yes. But in order to put two numbers in there, you need to send a note to support@traderminute.com and let them know you want a second number. Okay, and they can go ahead and do that for you. The other thing I want to remind you of, this little feedback button below. Not everything, as we talked about this morning, not everything is up and going yet. We're still building out a few different things, some upgrades to the text system, or so to the chat system. We've tweaked some of the video stuff here today. Hopefully, some of the blurry issues you're seeing a little resolution on. Topics of the day is coming, but as you see things or have any feedback, all you have to do is click this feedback button here below. Okay, and then it just asks for your email address. You can put in your comments, and you can send that, or you can basically click highlight, drag, and say, hey, this is the part that needs fixed. Put your comments in, hit send. It'll send our tech area the visual as well as the text. We can get those things worked out and fixed for you. Okay. So we'll keep that on here for the next next 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for hopping on with us. Any questions, please let us know. You can send over to support@traderminute.com, or if you want to email me personally, Jeff@TraderMinute. And we will talk to you again in the morning. Have a great evening, everybody. Take care.